women who were paid to glow then watched their bodies fall apart, the radium girls. Most people assume that if a job were killing you, the law would force someone to warn you. For a long time, that was not true. This is the story of young women who were paid to paint with poison, told it was harmless, and left to fall apart, one bone at a time. Chapter 1. The Element That Glowed. In 1898, Marie and Pierre Curie isolated a new element called radium. It glowed in the dark with its own soft light. To the public, it looked like magic. And so it was sold like magic. Radium went into toothpaste, face cream, and health tonics. People believed this glowing metal could cure almost anything. Almost no one understood that the same energy making it glow was quietly destroying living tissue. Out of this craze came an industry. Mix radium into paint and you get a finish that glows in the dark, perfect for the numbers on watches and clocks. Companies like the United States Radium Corporation opened studios and hired hundreds of workers to paint those tiny glowing dials by hand. They wanted young women, small hands, steady fingers. For a working-class girl in the 1910s and 1920s, it was a dream job. Clean, well-paid, even glamorous. They were paid to work with the most exciting substance on earth. Chapter 2. Lip, Dip, Paint. The numbers on a watch are tiny. Painting them needed a perfect brush point. So the women were taught a simple trick. Put the brush to your lips. Twist it into a point. Dip it in the paint. Paint the dial. Lip, dip, paint. Hundreds of times a day. Every single stroke they swallowed a little radium. They asked if it was safe. They were told it was. Management said the paint was harmless. Good for the skin even. The women believed it because the same substance was being sold to the public as medicine. So they trusted it. And they had fun with it. They painted their nails to glow. They painted their teeth before a night out so their smiles would shine in the dark. They wore their good dresses to work so the dust would settle in and they would glow on the walk home. They called themselves the Ghost Girls. What they did not know is that the men in the same company handled raw radium very differently. Lead screens, aprons, tongs. The danger was understood. It just was not meant for the women with the brushes. Chapter 3. The bodies fall apart. Radium acts like calcium, so when you swallow it, the body stores it in your bones. And there it stays, releasing radiation into the skeleton for the rest of your life. For many women, it started with their teeth. Teeth loosened and fell out. The empty sockets refused to heal and turned into open sores. When dentists pulled a bad tooth, pieces of the jawbone came away with it, the bone so rotten it crumbled in their fingers. Doctors had never seen anything like it. They gave it a name, radium jaw. One of the first to die was a young woman named Molly Maggia. Her dentist pulled tooth after tooth as the rot spread. In the end, her entire lower jaw lifted out in pieces. She died in 1922 in agony at 24. Her death certificate blamed syphilis, a lie that protected her employer and smeared her at the same time. The same horror spread through the studios. Women developed anemia that no treatment could fix. Their bones grew so brittle that hips and spines snapped under their own weight. Some shrank inches as their spines collapsed. Tumors swelled out of bone. One by one, they went from glowing young workers to invalids, most of them before the age of 30. Chapter 4. The Denial. As the women died, the companies that poisoned them fought back with denial and delay. The United States Radium Corporation ordered medical exams of its workers. Then it buried or twisted the results, telling the women they were perfectly healthy. It pushed other explanations for the deaths. Syphilis was a favorite because it blamed the women's morals and frightened them into silence. The companies had time on their side too. Radium poisoning was slow. By the time a woman got sick, years had passed since her exposure, and the legal deadlines to sue over a workplace injury had often already expired. The slowness of the poison became a shield for the people who caused it. But the science was catching up. Investigators developed ways to detect the radiation still trapped inside the women's bodies. Their bones were literally radioactive. Their breath could fog photographic film. The evidence was written into their skeletons. The only question left was whether anyone with power would act on it. Chapter 5. The Fight. The women decided to fight, and that was almost impossible. They were poor. They were dying. They were women taking on powerful corporations in a time when no one expected workers or women to win. In New Jersey, a group of dying workers led by Grace Fryer spent years just trying to find a lawyer brave enough to take the case. When they finally sued, some of them were too sick to lift their arms to take the oath. The story made national news. In 1928, the company settled rather than face a verdict. The fight moved to Illinois, where Catherine Donahue took on the Radium Dial Company. She pursued her case while she was visibly dying, testifying from a chair, weighing almost nothing. In the late 1930s, she won. The verdict was upheld on appeal, all the way up until the highest court refused to overturn it. The victories did not give the women their lives back. Most were already dead, and the rest soon followed, but the law changed. Employers could now be held responsible for diseases caused by their workplaces. Workers won stronger rights to compensation. Real safety rules were created for handling radioactive material. The data taken from the women's ruined bodies even shaped the protections later given to the scientists who built the atomic bomb. In dying, they made the workplace safer for everyone who came after them. Chapter 6. The Lesson. The Radium Girls were not the only people sacrificed to industry. They are part of a long pattern, one where the cost of profit is quietly pushed onto the people least able to refuse it. The same indifference had already killed garment workers locked inside a burning factory. It would return again with the workers poisoned by asbestos, whose bosses also knew the danger and stayed silent for decades. The radium craze even killed the rich. A famous socialite died after years of drinking a radium tonic. But it was the working women, swallowing poison for a paycheck, who paid first and paid hardest. The men who ran these companies were not monsters from another world. They were businessmen doing a calculation. They weighed the cost of protecting their workers against the cost of replacing them. And they decided that young women with brushes were cheaper to lose than to save. The danger was known. It was written down. It was denied anyway, because admitting it cost money. The Radium Girls forced the world to admit it. They are remembered now not as victims, but as the workers who stared down their own dying bodies and powerful corporations and refused to be erased. Their glow was a marketing trick that became a death sentence, and out of it, they won the right of every worker after them to know what their job is doing to their body. There is the record they left behind, written in law and in bone, and the question of whether anyone is paying attention to it.